actually, if you thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anna. So, rewinding because we just started the recording. For everyone watching, welcome who's watching the replay. I'm so happy you're here. We've got some great folks with us here live. What I want to show you today is a taste of a program that I built during COVID. It was my COVID project. And I laugh at myself, and so do most people in my life, because COVID for me was really kind of an interesting time. My children were going to a private school, a small school, and really took it seriously, the homeschooling piece. Like I was a full-fledged teacher. I was running a school from 9 to 3 every day in our house. So we had a lot going on, and I was in this major transition, as was the whole world. And it really dawned on me that transition is an interesting thing because so often we feel this need to push and take action during a time that should actually be a contemplation time. And the truth is, if you take action too quickly, you might find yourself in repeat mode, doing something again, or finding yourself in a situation again that made you unhappy in the first place because you didn't take the contemplation time. So I wanted to build a program that actually addressed this because I felt like so many career coaches, career counselors, anyone in this modality was actually building programs that were promoting, put your resume together, let's practice on your interview skills. What type of people do you, or what type of companies do you want to go after? Or, oh, you want to make another shift in your life? You want to change relationships? You want to contemplate something very new in your life? Here's how to take action. Instead of honoring this very important time of contemplation. And so thanks for coming today because I want to give you an hour to honor some time, spend some time in contemplation. I'm going to give you a taste of a program that I'm actually posting in the chat for those who are here live. For those on the replay, you just click beneath this video. The program I built is called the PAVE Challenge, and it's designed for people in career and life transition. And it's something to look into if you're interested in. I'm going to tell you more about it towards the end of today. And if it's not something you're interested in, I'm so glad you're here. We're going to make a great use of this hour. It's really important to me that anytime I bring people together, that it's useful for your time. So I hope that I will make this next hour useful for your time. Sound good? Y'all in? I'm seeing some nods. And anyone want to give me some vocals with the nods? Monica?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right, perfect. See, I knew I could count on you. That's great. Okay, doesn't she sound so enthusiastic too?
Well, a challenge posed by Nina. I know it's always going to be meaningful and playful and insightful.
You're hired. You are hired. Um, all right, my friends, does everyone see my screen? Just give me a thumbs up. Yeah? All right, cool. All right, so also let's launch a little poll. I would love to learn from you all. You all see this poll? What brought you here today? Are you contemplating a big career pivot? Are you about to make a shift in your personal life? Have you already made a big move in your life or your career, or you're simply interested in the topic of transition? Give you a little bit more time before I end the poll and share the results. We got 6 of 9, so maybe a few more could vote. All right, all of you. Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much. I'll share the results. So here's the results. So 4 of you are contemplating a big career pivot. I'm excited for you. There's so much to be excited about when you stay in the mode of possibility. Many of you are about to make a big shift in your personal life. Also excited for you because that means newness coming in that could be really beautiful. Many of you have already made that big move in your life or career. So high five to you because I know how much courage that takes. And some of you are just simply interested in it. Everyone see the results here? Did I use the poll correctly? Okay, good. All right, awesome. Always helpful to kind of know what we're working with here. So Today is going to be all about introducing you what I call the first few foundational paving stones to support you in building a career or a life that feels more purposeful to you. By purpose, I mean whatever that means to you. For those of you who don't know me, many of you do, which is awesome. I'm so happy to see your faces. But just to give you a little bit of background on me, I'm an executive coach and a trainer. I established Pave Your Way in 2014. I just got my master's in happiness studies. Yes, you heard that correctly. And I'm very proud to say that that is the best degree I could have possibly mastered in because I just have so many resources to give to my clients based on all these different areas of what contributes to well-being and happiness. I'm also a lead trainer for IPEC. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. Yeah, Monica's got snappity snapping over there because, and also Stephanie went through that program. And I call myself a published author because you know what? I've got like so many posts on my blog, but I've also posted them in with a lot of different publications online. Some people tell me, when are you going to write the book? I just haven't really had the heart to do that yet. I wrote the PAVE Challenge is kind of my book, what I'm going to show you today at this program. And I think most importantly, I'm a proud mom. And what you'll learn about my story today is being a proud mom has a lot to do with my own transition story and what caused me to really take an interest in what it's like to make a big pivot in your life, whether it's personal or professional, which, by the way, those two things often intertwine, they interact with one another. So before we start, we're going to go old school. Okay. We don't allow AI notes. It's like just paper, pen. And the reason I say that is I really firmly believe that there is a power to putting pen to paper and writing down your thoughts. And it's not that complicated what we're asking you here to do. If you really want to check out this again, actually, I'd be honored if you did. I will post the replay on the link that I gave you. For those of you who are watching, you'll have access to the replay as many times as you want. For now, though, do yourself a favor and make use of this time by just getting the supplies you need, something to write with, so you can really contemplate what we're working on today. Because, like I said, I don't want to just tell you about the program. I want to give you a taste of it. I want you to actually experience it. So it's well worth your time. All right, so the first thing I want you to think about, and it might baffle you. For many of you, it might baffle you because you're like, I'm at this point in my life, I can't believe I'm even still thinking about this. By the way, I'm about to attend my 30th high school reunion. And that makes you think too, like, what is everyone doing in their lives? And where are you in your life? And I think that it's natural for some of us to wonder, should I be contemplating a big shift at this point in my life? Or really at any point of our lives. I think sometimes we wonder if we have a right to do this or if it's safe to do this. I want you, though, to think about, am I ready to make a big change in my career or life? Even if you've already made one, maybe there's some other fine tuning things that have to do with this. And if so, what are either the big changes or little changes that you're contemplating making? It's kind of this question of what do I really want to be when I grow up that happens over and over and over again? Or better yet, who do I want to be right now? Because that could be different than last year. So I'm going to zip it for a minute just to give you a little bit of space without me blabbing to think about that and just jot something down to anchor into why it is you're even here today. Okay. So I have found after working with hundreds of clients in the realm of career transition, I'm also an executive coach. That's actually mainly what I do. I focus on executive coaching. I really formed this program though because this little side niche started to form because I found that as I worked with executives, what happens is when you work with someone on building consciousness as they become more aware, they begin to see different possibilities. And sometimes that means I'm ready to make a shift, either in my relationship or in work. So this career transition niche formed for me. And in all this work that I've done with all these clients over the years, I've found that a lot of people like to bury the question of, is it time to make a change? Because there's a little shame sometimes attached to it. It's sort of like this idea of, I should know what I want by now, or I should appreciate what I have. You know, I've put a lot of time and effort into this job and into this relationship. Why would I throw it all away? Um, but even though that might create a little angst, at the end of the day, and this is not going to be a saying that's new to many of you, we call this shoulding on yourself. You're kind of shoulding on yourself like I should or I shouldn't. And shoulding on yourself is basically could mixed with shame. Should. Um, and if you think about that, there's no need for that. We're allowed to contemplate and think about changes in our lives. If you look at nature, change is inevitable. Things are changing all the time. So why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we allow this to breathe a little bit with through the lens of possibility as opposed to shame? So, are you ready to make a big change in your life, or even a little change that might feel big to you, but maybe isn't necessarily the biggest change? And now I want you to think about if you are ready to make that change, or if you have made the change and you can reflect back, what may have held you back for a while in taking the leap? Just reflect back on that. Or for the next change, what do you think is holding you back from taking that leap? And write this down without any judgment. Just write your honest answer down because there's a power in confronting the truth, even if it stings a little. I'm going to give you just a minute or a few seconds, really, to do that. As we wait, Rachel, I see your comment in the chat. Already made a big move and contemplating another. Amazing. And it's really cool. As we do it once, we get better at it. It seems like it doesn't necessarily get any less scary, but we get better at it. So congratulations, because that takes a lot of courage to make moves, especially with every year of life, right? It's easy to kind of go with the way that it always was. So I'm going to introduce a little concept to you that I really love, and it's called the transitional hallway. And it sounds and it feels a little bit like this. You're successful and smart, and yet you find yourself maybe feeling stuck without knowing why. This sounds like someone who might be walking through a transitional hallway. You're surprised that you feel stuck and you think that maybe I should be able to figure out a solution. I'm really intelligent. I'm a strategic thinker. Why am I not figuring this out? Again, welcome to your transitional hallway. You might find yourself constantly chasing goals and achieving results, but you still don't feel very satisfied with whatever it is you're achieving. Again, this also describes a transitional hallway. Perhaps you're experiencing all of these scenarios. Maybe your gut tells you that there's more to life, but you just don't have the time or energy or confidence to deal with a big change. Maybe you've bought a bunch of self-help books, you've hired a career counselor, or you're working with another expert like a therapist, which is great. All of this is useful, but here you are, you're still kind of finding yourself in whatever grind or whatever situation makes you uncomfortable, and you still feel a little bit like you're in a rut. First of all, welcome to being human and welcome to a transitional hallway. Maybe you just want that pit in your stomach to go away. And you just wish, oh, well, if I just keep working, if I just stick with whatever this is, contentment will come and I'll feel the purpose. The purposefulness will inform me when it's supposed to. So I just want to feel happy. Is that too much to ask? So again, just reflect on what it is, what you're feeling inside, and maybe write it down that brought you here today that might be an indicator of your transitional hallway. Is it a rut? Is it staying super busy, chasing goals, but still feeling not fully satisfied? What is it exactly? Jot it down. So here's what we're going to take away in our time together. Like I said, so many personal development programs I've found focus primarily on actions and outcomes and results. And in doing so, they actually encourage you to skip over the discomfort, which is a beautiful place and space, if you choose to view it that way, of the transitional hallway. And if you don't experience and move through this transitional hallway, if you get through it too quickly, again, you find yourself opening doors that are still not aligned. When you're in the midst of uncertainty, it's probably not the best time to be taking action or seeking lasting results. Okay, that's the world pushing on us, telling us, oh, now, now, now. You need to do this now, now, now. Instead, though, when you realize you're in a transitional hallway, it's time for deep self exploration and some reassessment of the world around you. And this process actually begs for time. It begs for space. It begs for openness to experience and just reorient your own personal definition of who you are and what you want. You don't have to rush through it, even though it's uncomfortable. And by the way, that discomfort also causes us to want to rush through it as well. But what I want to encourage you to do is to just get a little bit more comfortable with that discomfort because it will start to inform you. There's a lot of opportunity in it. Again, so many programs and experts overlook the importance of taking the time to reorient yourself prior to taking action. So today we're going to talk about the first few steps to moving towards a career and a life that feel more purposeful to you. Again, whatever purposeful means to you, by exploring the following things. One, something you've probably been resisting that it's time to face and embrace. Two, the simple things that you've probably been overlooking that maybe it's time for you to challenge. Three, the easiest way to draw in new possibilities to you, and trust me, they are all around you. Even on the days that you're not feeling it, they are all around you. And four, advice that's the most valuable and the most worth your fullest trust. So before I get into it, I'm briefly going to go into my story again that got me interested in this topic of career transition. Um, and I have a passion for it. I really do, because I have navigated my own career and life transitions. I think we all have, right? At this point in our lives, I see all of you. At this point in our lives, this is not like an unfamiliar topic to us. Change is a part of life. What I realized, though, is that before I was able to step into my purpose of supporting others to trust and believe in themselves, it had to start with me first. Of course, learning to trust and believe in myself. I mean, you can't work with others until you've worked on yourself. So, about 13 years ago, that's actually when I first met Tommy, who's on the call here, and his awesome wife, Brenda. Um, I was in the height of my, I guess it was about 17 plus, 17 to 20-year career of marketing and advertising. And I was accustomed at that time to gaining my confidence, or sometimes lack thereof, by the accolades and judgments of everyone around me. It was how people were encouraging me, or what they were saying about my work, that's really what fueled me. Everything that was external to myself. So my moods and my perceptions of success were attached to all these external outcomes, things like whether or not we won an account, or if I got a promotion, or if my managers were pleased or disappointed with business results that I was generating. All of these outcomes would honestly make or break my mood. Can you imagine what it was like to be around me? Uh, so of course, like whatever mood I was in would carry over to all aspects of my life. Um, and I think my friends and my family, they dealt with that in me. And this way of life was manageable for most of my life. In fact, I thought that was normal. I thought that's how life was supposed to be lived. I would wake up day after day, keeping up with what everyone wanted from me. I would check my email right away. Anna, by the way, my great colleague Anna, who's also here, she knew me at this time. She might remember. I don't know how well, if I hit it or not, but I'm sure I couldn't all days. But what I felt inside was a little lost. Even though I was learning a lot, I loved my job. I got to work with such incredible people. I had a lot of fun along the way. I will never, ever dismiss those experiences. They were great parts of my life. But I started to realize this discomfort, started to pay attention to feeling I felt pretty lost, actually. Here I was getting promoted, my titles were getting better. Yes, my responsibility seemed to be increasing. That fed the ego a little bit, but inside I felt like I was drifting at sea. So looking back, I can see that I made it pretty darn easy actually for the world to toss me around in a directionless drift because I was allowing the world to decide everything for me. I love the old saying by the great and late author Jim Rohn. This is such a good one. And it's, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. Well, that's basically how I was living my life. So then something major happened in my life. And I know that this is very female oriented, but I'm a female, so this is my story, right? But I think it's relatable to any person. Yeah, and Tommy's shaking his head. It's like, yeah, any parent can relate to this. But even if you're not a parent, everyone has a story like this that brought them to recognize their power. It took them from the idea of being a victim to being a victor of your own life. Well, this is mine. I had a child, my firstborn son, and that forced me into a 3-month transitional hallway. I was lucky enough to be able to take a maternity leave. And it was during that period that I had nothing but time and space, in addition to, feeding this child and not sleeping a lot. And I sat in the presence of this, like, really a miracle, right? It's pretty incredible when you have a baby in your arms, even if it's not your baby. Babies are just magic. I mean, they come from the other realm, I believe. Like they are something. And this one was this baby that I brought to earth. Um, and I couldn't help but notice the magic of being with this child mixed with also the discomfort of my human experience and all the things that I found myself worrying about, and what a contrast that was to the beauty of this pure, unlimited being that I was holding in my hands. And it was in this space that it dawned on me I had worked so hard for so many years of my life, yearning for a better paycheck, striving for a better promotion, dying for recognition from other people. And it had ultimately left me feeling pretty empty. And I was just wondering to myself, like, how is it possible that I've made so many choices in my life that seem to garner outward success and make me proud in that aspect? And yet I just don't feel in my heart that it's really all that meaningful inside. Not to mention, it's not giving me much time to spend with this little miracle that I'm holding. I rarely had time for this child, this little Buddha baby, which, by the way, just saying, was 10 pounds. So you can all give me a high five, okay? Because that was that was quite a big baby. All right, so this caused me to hit the pause button. My maternity leave forced me into this all important space that I'm talking about to leave my to-do list behind. And when I did, something monumental happened. The result was really life-changing. I decided to capitalize on this pause. It was funny, I would see people posting on social media about like what they were launching, and what they were launching was like my world, business units that I was running. I thought the whole world cared about these launches. But then they'd be posting about it while I was on maternity leave, and suddenly it was like, the only people who are liking this stuff are the people who work on the team or for that company. Like, no one cares as much as I did when I was in that role. It really dawned on me how much I was making that stuff a part of my world. So I decided to capitalize on the pause, take some time and space for myself to reflect on me, my life, and where I was headed. Not that that stuff is not important, but just where I was in life, it was worth looking at. How aligned was I with it? So I decided to then capitalize on the discomforts. I actually had no choice because I was in maternity leave, which is strange for someone who's such a busybody, you know, at that time, so career oriented. So it was strange to suddenly just be sitting around. Not that you're sitting around when you have an infant, but I mean, I just wasn't like, you know, collaborating with people all the time, emailing, all of that. I decided to get curious about my own life rules, new ways of thinking and operating. And I had to like do some personal reckonings actually with my own discomfort and empower myself. And I decided then and there that the pains and discomforts of being myself and betting on myself could be no less painful than the pain of remaining stagnant. I felt like I knew I had a lot to give to the world. I was giving a lot of it to a company at the time, and I could probably place that talent in any direction, really, if I just stopped to think about whatever directions would be more meaningful to me. So maybe you can relate that feeling of sometimes just feeling a little bit rudderless or controlled with what everyone else wants from you, and not fully knowing what it is you want for yourself, or feeling like you've worked really hard to achieve success and yet deep in your heart you're not fully feeling into what you're doing. Maybe you find yourself jumping from one activity to the next, only feeling like you're barely keeping afloat. You're just knocking things off the to-do list, kind of unconsciously, not really thinking about why or what, just kind of like robotically moving through that list. Or perhaps you're tired of spending countless hours and money asking other experts what to do, you know, like asking for pick your brain meetings or reaching out to people instead of kind of really sitting with your own urges and your hunches and your own desires. Really trying to figure out what it is I want instead of asking more people outside of you what they think you should want. Maybe you're still counting on the idea that happiness will come when you achieve the next goal or when you accomplish that next accolade. Oh, I'll be happy once I'm promoted to senior VP, or once I get that C-level gig, or once I get senior manager, or I'll be happy once I move into our new home. Well, that was me. I remember that quite well. And I know that for a lot of my clients, we chase things. And there comes a time where we finally just get really tired of that, tired of working our tails off to impress the external world, tired of running around doing everything for everyone else and completely negating ourselves, tired of busying ourselves with trivial to-do lists, tired of neglecting our truest self. Um, and again, instead of servicing kind of who is it that we are? How can we become alive? How can we honor the things that are most precious to us in our lives? The beautiful aspect of a transitional hallway is there's really nothing in it, which can be scary at first. But if you think of how beautiful that is, it's a blank canvas. The walls are totally white. There's nothing hanging there yet. And if you allow yourself to remain in this hallway for a while, which sometimes can feel a little bit lonely and strange and a little bit isolating, but if you avoid searching for the next doorway too abruptly, you have this beautiful possibility to reimagine your life. And my maternity leave inadvertently gave me this space to face my own uncomfortable emotions and my current position in life and learn from it so I could then create space to dream and to visualize the very best version of myself. So the result is I suddenly felt inspired and motivated to try something new, and it helped me take the first few steps towards a whole new reality. So, what actually happened here is I embraced the discomfort of my transitional hallway before making my next move. Instead of numbing out my discomforts or trying to fill my time and space with more busyness, which many of us love to do during transitions, we don't allow that time for pause because we believe we learned somewhere along the line that we have to be productive all the time. Who am I going to set up the next pick your brain meeting with? I gotta set some more coffees or some more lunches. I gotta send out a plethora of resumes. How many resumes did I send out this week? Or when's the next networking event? Or what else can I put on my to-do list? Again, all of this is just distracting you from your discomforts. You think that you're being productive, but really what you're doing is you're numbing yourself out. Or you're jumping on your screen, looking at reels, right? Like that's a big one today. All of this is a numbing mechanism. Trust me, I've been there. I know what that is. I still catch myself at times. It's not like life doesn't continue to change since this story. So today I want to invite you to explore your discomforts and take a walk around your transitional hallway. It's a blank slate. And guess what? That blank slate is filled with lots and lots of possibilities. For starters, it's worthwhile to get to know your numbing mechanism. For me, it was busying myself with to-do lists and keeping busy at all times. I am recovering for the rest of my life workaholic. So for me, being productive and busy and getting things done uh, is and in some cases even like busying myself with fun and connecting with others can sometimes be a numbing mechanism to keep me away from discomfort. But somehow I was able to get a little more honest with myself because that nagging discomfort got so huge, especially when I spent a lot of time with myself during maternity leave. And I began to realize that my to-do list was distracting me from taking new risks and trying something new, maybe exploring new opportunities in my life. So I'm going to zip it here for a minute so you can think about this. I saw some of you already write. What is your numbing mechanism? Is it overeating? Is it over exercising? Is it drinking too much? Is it shopping? Is it vegging out? Is it doom scrolling? Is it keeping yourself as busy as possible, like it was for me? And also, guys, how are you justifying the mechanism? Because I'm sure you are. For me, it's like, well, I got to be productive if I'm going to change. So catch yourself in that. So now, onto the possibilities that could occur if you replace these mechanisms with new possibilities. So imagine the feeling that you've opened the door to this life that really satisfies you. Maybe you're depositing your first big paycheck for the work that you love. Maybe you're surrounded by the best team. Maybe you are in the most healthy, loving, passionate relationship. Maybe you're living in the most beautiful house in the most beautiful environment. You've confidently stepped forward in the direction of your potential. You've figured out what your next move is. You have a solid and invigorating plan to get going on that life. And you're motivated and you feel alive each and every day. Maybe it's launching a business. Maybe you step up into that new promotion. Maybe it's that new role. Maybe it's that company that you move to that feels more aligned with your values. Maybe it's stepping up your game in the business that you run. Maybe it's hosting a new retreat that with fantastic, amazing, life-changing content. Maybe you just have the courage to confront what's missing in your relationship and you just take a few micro steps to work on it and move on. Either way, it leads to you waking up each day excited to tackle the day. And your friends and your family, they see it too. They get to see you more often and they tell you something is different about you. Imagine how you'll feel then. Write down the feeling of what you'll feel when you walk through that door into the life you love. All right, so where do we start to keep this feeling alive? Okay, because the swell, we just formed the swell. Like now we need to create the wave, we need to create the momentum. So let's dive in. I'm going to teach you some highlights from my coaching program, the PAVE Challenge. And Anna, if you'll throw the link in the chat again, just so people have it, if you want to look more into it, you absolutely can. And I'll make sure that you have the information on it before you go today. But really, it's all about building more confidence and more clarity about the direction of your life and your career now, using this transitional hallway. Embracing the murkiness of this transitional state instead of trying to swim past it or resisting it altogether. And we do this by getting real about who we are, how we feel, and what we want. So I'm going to introduce you to 4 foundational, I call them paving stones because, I mean, it's a little cheesy. I mean, Pave Your Way is the name of my company. So paving stones, why not, right? So paving stone number 1, surrender to your discomfort and start getting curious about it. So what do I mean about that? It's finding the time and space to be with your discomfort, allow it to inform you instead of stifling you, because your emotions are just energy in motion. They aren't the truth about you and your identity. They're just relaying information to you. That's it. They're not saying you're a good or a bad person or you're a quitter or you're a bad a leader or bad mom or bad dad or none of that. They are just informing you of something that you feel. So instead of judging your emotions as good or bad, or trying to numb them out because they feel uncomfortable with busyness or just avoidance, whatever your numbing mechanism was, whatever you wrote down, just pay attention to the intelligence behind your emotional cues, especially the more uncomfortable ones, and ask yourself, what are these emotions all about and what are they actually trying to tell me? Okay? So I want to give you a moment to answer that question. What are some of the emotions you're regularly feeling in this transition, or perhaps sweeping under the rug? And what might these feelings and emotions be trying to tell you? And after you write it down, just to plant the seed, I'd love someone, if you're open to it, to pop your answer in the chat. Or if you even briefly want to just jump on, I'd love to hear your voice. No, this is recording though, so you got to be good with that.
I can go.
Tommy, yes. Good to see you, my friend.
Uh yeah, the I went back to one of the earlier questions was like, why can't you do the change or something like that? And it was like, it won't work. I don't have the skills. And that emotion, like what are some of the emotions is definitely like self-doubt. Uh yeah, self-doubt.
Okay. And if you, first of all, Tommy, amazing for recognizing it. And I don't know anyone who experiences transition or wanting to change things or up level things who's not going to doubt themselves. That's what we all do. If this doubt was very purposeful for you and it was informing you, it was screaming to tell you something, what could that potentially be?
The first thing that like kind of comes is like you're almost like what you said, like you're supposed to be feeling this. Like this is actually like means you're going in the right direction.
Okay. And give me an example of a past time when you felt doubt and it became true that you moved in the right direction.
Man, it's a familiar feeling. And the first thing that comes up is some like parenting stuff, like different like times, like, I don't know, this is what came up. My daughter being really freaking pissed and disappointed about something and like staying calm in that moment instead of like getting frantic with her. And I think there's like, I don't know why that came up, but it's like, there's some like self-doubt that like something's wrong, something's not right here. And then it's like, no, everything's okay. There's a little like, I don't know.
Yeah. And it worked out. It sounds like you handled it well. I love those parenting examples when it comes to doubt, because as parents, we just, there's never a time as a parent where we've experienced it before. Unless you're like an OG and you've had a few kids, but like, especially with that first one, you're constantly facing doubt, because that's when doubt comes up, is when we face unknowns. And what you're describing here, Tommy, is a situation where you were in an unknown. How do I handle this? And it caused you to pause and really kind of be maybe more mindful in terms of how you handled it. So I think that's a great example. And I'm going to leave this with you, Tommy. You don't have to answer it now, but just think about recognizing what it was about you in that moment that made it work. How can you apply that to this transition? Jot that down and spend some time with it.
Okay.
Stephanie, thank you. Also, fear of failure in the chat. Wow, who doesn't feel that when you're facing an unknown? Anything else that you want to add to that, my friend?
Yeah, so I think I got my certification recently, and I'm planning to leave a corporate role, and I've been really excited about it. But now we're like 3 weeks away, and so what keeps coming up for me is this old version of success, right? Because it was for so long, like 3 decades rather, not 10. I'm not that old. Um, that like success meant, C-suite, meant salary, meant title. And that has shifted for me, right? And success now kind of means like calm and flexibility and time with my children and family. Um, but it's muscle memory. And so I keep getting pulled back into this like my salary and title equal my identity. And if I'm not good at this new transition, like then who am I?
Yeah.
Um, and so what's frustrating for me right now is I know, but I still swing back and forth into like what I truly believe.
Yeah. Habits. Habits get us every time. And also, what you're highlighting, Stephanie, is also this battle of the ego. What is my identity? As we grow and change, it's so interesting how, for some of us, some of the more simpler things in life become more connected to our purpose and our values. Whereas maybe when we were younger and chargers and go-getters, the ego had to be fed more.
Yeah.
We required more complex things. So of course you find yourself in this state like, oh, who am I? Is this right? But just take note of what you're saying right now, because this is your truth speaking. You're basically defining right now, in front of witnesses, by the way, what makes you feel purposeful, and only you can define that. The world cannot. As you know, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I think it's really important that you appreciate what you just said there, and also recognize that, yeah, of course you're going to fear failing, and of course you're going to question your identity, because it has not been the norm of how you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
So let's move to paving stone 2. Challenge your old thinking and reconnect with your truth. Truth with a capital T. Anyone who's been through my school of training, IPEC, knows what truth with a capital T means. Not all truths are unequivocal truths, is what we mean by that. Just because you think it's true doesn't mean everyone else does. All right? That's what we mean by this. So we want to challenge our old thinking and reconnect with our truth, because some of your current life rules, some of these current identity statements, right, Stephanie? Like, well, I'm this type of person. I'm a producer. I'm a success, right? Some of this, it might be time to retire that stuff, to leave room for who you are becoming. All right? So sometimes we need to like really question, what am I buying into here? And are these ideas serving me? Because some of these ideas aren't even mine. You know, I caught ones that belong to, I think, my parents, that they told me when I was young, you know, and I still am living by them. So it's worth asking, where did some of your belief systems come from anyway? And how relevant are they to who you really are today and how you want to live? And by the way, the difference between what you want and what you really, really want is also something to assess. It's one thing to say, I want this, but what do you really, really want? Because usually there's an underlying meaning, there's something bigger behind what you say you want, right? I want to become a coach. Okay, cool. What do you really, really want? Well, for me, what I really, really wanted was to spend more time with these two beautiful children that I brought into the world and utilize my strengths and talents in a way that I knew I could be purposeful in the world, which is helping other people. That's what I really, really wanted. Okay. Also, an example of a rule that I had to retire. I had to retire this idea that you have to be the hardest person, working person in the city to be successful. I'm not even talking organization. You have to be the hardest working person in the city. I gotta say, when I was in my 30s, like my friends thought I was a maniac. They were like, how much money are you making? Because I have never seen someone work as much as you. Well, I came from an upbringing where it was like, if you want to do well in life, then you got to be the last person in the office always. Until I realized it was time to retire that idea. So I want to ask you now, what are some of the old rules, old life rules that it might be time to retire, and what do you really, really want? And if you're willing to, maybe drop yours in the chat if someone's willing to play, and then I'll move to the next paving stone. Stephanie, awesome. The definition of success can't change is an old belief that maybe it's time to reassess the definition of success. And by the way, Stephanie, not to put you on the spot, but if you were to redefine that rule, how could it sound in present time that is more aligned with what you want and who you are? Then Tommy, I'm not smart enough. Thank you for your honesty. And again, what's a higher truth that you know about yourself, that the wisest part of you would say? If you guys are willing to drop that in the chat, that'd be great. And as you do that, I'm going to move to paving stone number 3, and I'll keep my eye out on the chat. Oh, Lucas, there we go, my friend. Thank you for participating. I need to prove others. I need to prove others that I'm worthy. Beautiful honesty. Amazing. And so now stop to think about, Lucas, what's the reverse of that? And I don't even care if you believe it yet. Just link yourself to the reverse of that statement to form a new possibility. Because I think the reverse of that statement, there's a side of you that also knows that to be true. And it might take some time to cultivate, but at least allow yourself to write it down. Oh my gosh, you all are amazing. Monica, my value comes only from my knowledge. Okay, and what is a higher truth? And I can say this to you. What would your highest coach have to say about that? And I know you know what I mean by that, just the wisest part of you. Irene, you don't have to be perfect. Okay. And Irene, what is it about that that holds you back? And if there were a better statement, and if that is the statement to move you forward, then keep it written. So flexibility, simplicity, and peace are things that Stephanie wants. maybe that's what it was for you too, Irene, in terms of what you really want. And Lucas, I'm worthy. No need other, I don't need others' validation. Beautiful. And also adding as an immigrant, I need to be better than the best. Yeah, that probably is some programming that has come with your upbringing. Yeah, that you have to prove a little bit more than others. How can you rethink that? Because I'm sure that serviced you up until this point in your life. How true is it today? Because my sense is that you've probably already proven a lot. You probably already have quite a track record. All right, beautiful. Paving stone number 3. Allow your creativity to guide you towards new possibilities as opposed to solving problems. There's a difference. Let me explain. This is where you get out of your habitual tunnel vision and take a look around yourself. Instead of focusing on the problem, this is the challenge I got to fix or get out of, you lift your head and you start looking for what are the solutions that are aligned with what I want. That is a very different direction for your attention to focus on. Get curious of new ways of doing things. What are other satisfied and successful people doing that's totally outside of what you could have ever imagined? There's a great big world out there filled with lots of brilliant and smart people, and there's so many interesting things happening. Tune into that. Your way isn't the only way. So instead of focusing on your problems, how do I fix that? See what happens when you look for solutions, when you seek opportunities, when you push beyond what you would have done. Often the most fruitful and sustainable answers reside far outside of the so-called problem. So problem solving might sound great, but it isn't always the best place actually to focus our attention. Solution seeking is what bears the fruit. Okay. So I remember, just a quick example, I remember also upbringing, I was always taught that, the way to make money is to earn it. So work hard. And then I met people in my life who were doing different things like investing and doing things that I was raised to think were risky. Like, what? You're buying property? You're not just working hard to make money. I know this is a simple example, but for me, it really was valuable to see how other people do things. My way isn't always the right way. So I want you to think about, what are the people you most admire doing differently than you? And how might you incorporate some of these habits or things in your own life? Anna, I recommend tennis. Anna is quite a tennis player. We actually have a agreement about how my webinars and work that she's involved in cannot interfere with her tennis time, and I honor it. Anything to keep Anna around. Anyone want to share in the chat? And I'm looking at the time. I might go over just a little bit if you want to hang. If not, we'll send you the replay as well. But I'm loving this with you all. Stephanie. Yeah, you notice some people are not concerned with other people's approval. And that's something I could incorporate. How liberating. I have a son who already is that way. It's like a golden gift. I'm just like, wow, if I could have more of that. Beautiful. All right, paving stone number 4, kind of nearing the end here. Trust yourself, trust the process, and enjoy your life. Enjoy your ride. It's amazing how often we don't, isn't it? Like, we're here to experience this amazing world that our souls got put into. Which, by the way, that in and of itself, the fact that we don't think about that all the time is shocking. The fact that we even get to be here. But when you really start to explore this paving stone, you begin to understand how foundational it is. It becomes potent when you integrate this in your day-to-day life, because this is about action. It's beyond talking and contemplating. This is about living. So let's explore the depth of what we really mean by this one. Trust yourself, trust the process, and enjoy the ride. Begin to see all the situations in your life as continuous opportunities for learning and start seeing it as a game that can't be lost and only played. So, in other words, some of the things that you allow to bring you down don't have to bring you down. It's just part of the ride that you get to experience. And when you do this, you begin to recognize that no matter what happens, we really can't make a mistake because we're always going to learn from either a success or a failure, and either is possible. But when we trust that all experiences are meaningful and contribute to our growth, it opens us up to have courage and to take risks, to try new things, to explore new methods for living. And that really draws in excitement. That's when we're really living. That's when Monica asked a great question in a LinkedIn post recently aligned with her business. Monica, what is the name of your business again?
Uh, Aliveness.
Aliveness. So she asked this great question of, what does it mean to you to be alive? And this paving stone is what it means to me to be alive, is to just accept failure as a possibility, but not fear it anymore, and to actually embrace it as much as I embrace the possibility of success. Because when I do that, then Stephanie, I care less of what other people think. I just step into it, I go for it. And interestingly, when we do that, we do things with a lot more vigor. We do things with a lot more brilliance, and it attracts success without even trying, effortlessly. So I want you to think about, if you trusted that you cannot make a mistake and you'll only learn, what might you do? And even more importantly, how can you enjoy your life's experiences a little more? Stephanie, quit my job. Okay, you said it. Let's just remember you did. And again, look at Monica. Monica's doing like the flappy thing on the side of the road. So yeah. Okay, well maybe that's it then. And gulp, that can take some courage. And you have so much talent and strength. And you know that whatever direction that takes you, it's going to be a learning opportunity and a ride. Yeah, you want to add something, go for it.
I just was gonna say thanks because it's 3 weeks from today is the planned date, and as it gets closer, right, I get more panicky, and so I just needed the refresh. Some of the IPEC stuff helped as well, but just a reminder not to feed my ego, and that's keeping me in energy that's not serving me, and that I've redefined success, and I know how to be successful in this new way, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but I'm going to learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Change is always a little uncomfortable. And guess what? Panic does not mean you're making the wrong move. Panic is a natural part of a transition process. If you didn't have it, you wouldn't be human. So just let it happen and
Thank
notice
you.
the discomfort, and also recognize that it could be a sign of something exciting, of an unknown that you're
Yeah.
attracting that's to come.
And thank you, Monica, for celebrating me.
Oh, she's a natural born celebrator. All right, so just to recap, because I'm looking at time too, thanks for hanging with me. This is what we did today. I've shared some tips about how to start navigating your transitional hallway, embracing the discomfort as opposed to skipping over it or resisting it. Maybe for some of you, today is the first day you've decided, I'm going to walk around the transitional hallway. I'm going to explore this stuff. Maybe for some of you, you've been doing it for a while. So, like, ultra high fives to you. As you continue to explore this exciting blank space, and even though it's uncomfortable at times, it is exciting. Just remember these 4 main pointers and hint They're a part of our 4-step career and life transition process in the PAVE challenge. And Anna, just throw it in the chat again. And again, check it out only if you want. I hope you got something from today. But remember, who you are today may be a lot different than who you were before. So just get curious about your discomfort. Also, notice the difference between what's working and what's not working in your career and life, and challenge your old thinking. Reconnect with your truth with a capital T. It is okay to change your mind in the course of a life. You don't have to live by the same rules that you always have. You are allowed to evolve as a human being. See the big world outside of what you've always known. Redirect your attention. Allow your creativity to guide you towards new possibilities instead of only focusing on the problem and how you can fix it. And then lastly, release your attachment to outcomes. Let them be what they're going to be and enjoy life's ride, because we're not going to get to be here forever. So enjoy it. That is probably a number one best advice. It's okay to worry sometimes. It's okay to be anxious sometimes. That's a part of the experience too. How can you even enjoy that? Oh, look at me. I'm panicking. Oh, look at me. Observing myself. That's something maybe to enjoy too. Something exciting is about to happen, because that's what happens to human beings when we explore unknowns. So, wow, I'm now experiencing it, anxiety. So you're here today because maybe you want to build another roadmap that gives you clarity and confidence to move into your next career or life without following someone else's expert advice. Or you want to just find the courage and learn how to trust the world's wisest expert, which is you. You want to learn how to trust your own strengths, your own abilities, your own gifts that you can offer to the world to make a lasting change. And now is the time, my friends. It's time to start feeling aligned in your life, breathing life into those ideas and hunches that you have, those possibilities, instead of constantly trying to fix the problem. It's your time to stop expecting that you're going to get your answers from other people or books or more programs. It's your time to start trusting your own wisdom and connection with the vast world of answers and possibilities that are all around you right now. And that's what the PAVE challenge is about. And I'm just going to skip all the way, because you don't need to see all of this, because it's all on the page for those of you watching. I built it for $98. Why? Because another thing that drives me nuts is so many programs out there are too expensive to address a career and life transition, when really a lot of this is about just getting you in the space of tapping into your own wisdom. And if you click on the link that Anna put in the chat, you'll learn all about how the program works. For those of you watching the replay, it's all on this page. But essentially, it's 4 modules, 17 videos that are about 10 minutes a piece, and it's going to step you through these paving stones in more detail. So if you liked just the taste of what you got today, get ready to dig in more if you do this program, because every module has 4 videos and 4 fieldwork assignments that are really going to get you thinking, journaling, utilizing this transitional time as a hallway of possibility. That's what the program's all about. So of course, I got to tell you what it's all about before jumping. But mainly, what's most important to me is that you got something out of your time here within this hour. That's the most important thing, because I know firsthand what it can feel like when you're confronting a transition and you don't know where to turn. You don't know who to talk to. And sometimes you're getting advice that is just so one-sided. It's not always the best advice for you. And so hopefully you tuned into yourself a little bit today. On that note, looking at the time, it is probably time to jump. I will stay on a little bit longer for questions. For those of you watching, we'll stop the recording in a second, but feel free to explore the page that you're on, and you can purchase the PAVE challenge right here. Otherwise, thank you for joining, Anna. We can probably stop the recording. I'll stay on longer for those of you who are here live if you have questions.